It's approaching the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead.
What's good? Sorry for the delay, but here is the test with the Future Saga or Future Arc category team at 100% potential. So most of the units included on here are units that I assume that people wanted to see most on this category setup. Now granted, it's probably not the most optimal setup. I think for optimal builds, I would include at least one of the future androids to serve as, kind of like an orb changer, since they do have a variety of orb types they can change. So it'll be a lot easier to get the 18 key super with some of the LRs within this category, like LR Trunks and LR Goku Black, or even Vegito Blue. So I think that's the really the only thing worth mentioning is yeah, I mean, it's probably a good idea to include one of the future androids to and figure out which LR you're trying to guarantee the 18 key super as easy as possible. So yeah, I mean, this category is pretty stacked. As you can see, this one is set up with LR Goku Black, the Strength Super Saiyan Rose, LR Trunks, the LR Future Trunks, Vegito Blue, and obviously the Future Gohans as the leaders for the category. But yeah, we're running through Boss Rush Stage 5 with the setup. For this video, Gohan is more or less going to be a floater within this team, since the other units seem to pair up pretty well with each other. So that's kind of the format there. In terms of the category itself, so obviously the Future Gohan's the category lead is included on here, but the agility, LR Future Trunks, any of the Future Trunks really is on here as well. Super Trunks is also on there on this category, the strength, physical, and intelligence type, so that's also an option for free to play type units. There are several on here, like the Future Trunks and the Future Gohan units, but yeah, for the most part, I mean, it's got a lot more variety than I initially assumed. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a decent amount of cards listed on here. I mean, honestly, instead of Goku Black and the Strength Rose, you could go strictly with a hero setup and include units like the Super Intelligence, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, or even Super Saiyan God Goku. Obviously the Rage Trunks. If you opt to not include the LR Future Trunks, you could also include those units on there. Vegito Blue, I did include the LR version just because I assume this is what unit that most people wanted to see on this category. Obviously, you've got the physical type and the tech type that is also a variation of it. So yeah, definitely a decent amount of units available. Not the most robust and diverse category, but I'm sure more will become available as more time goes on. But yeah, like Android 18, the future Android 18 that just got a Dokkan Awaken, she's able to convert the agility key over to the physical key, and also when HP is 70% or below, she'll also be able to convert the intelligence key also to the physical type key. And then for the Android 17, he's able to convert the tech key over to the physical type key, and then 70% HP or below, he'll also convert the strength key to agility key. So these guys definitely do help with especially with LR Future Trunks and LR Trunks. Those units definitely do benefit from the presence of the future androids. Ironically, it's funny how that works out, but it's worth mentioning that it might be a good idea to include one of them on there as kind of more or less a support unit to help the LR units guarantee an 18 key super. But yeah, overall this team is pretty nice. They definitely do hit pretty well. I mean, you're talking about the 170% boost to attack from the leader skills, so you definitely do see a difference with that. Obviously Goku Black and the Strength Rose pair up pretty nicely, so definitely want to keep them in the rotation. Again, Gohan is more or less serving as a floater. Later on in the video, you'll kind of see him being rotated with certain units, but for right now he's more or less a floating unit to kind of fill in the spot, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, Rose's sitting for about 2 million right there without the criticals, and we've got both versions of LR Trunks. Obviously they pair up very nicely with each other, and yeah, again, it's like I said, the reason why you might want to include one of the androids is it's a lot easier to get the 18 key super with these guys, especially if they serve more or less like a floater and they're in the third slot for this particular rotation. Yeah, it'll definitely help a little bit in terms of being able to get the ultra attack off a little bit easier. So since the Shenron unit does lock the position for the units, we'll just keep things the way they are, kind of switch the rotations up a little bit, and see how things are. The Strength Rose unit is definitely a nice unit to include on here because the passive skills are pretty nice. Not only does he increase attack by 120%, but for extreme type allies it'll add +3 key and defense increase of 50%, and then super type enemies attack and defense will drop by 20%. So definitely does help the team overall there too. And Ultimate Gohan, I mean not Ultimate Gohan, but the Future Gohan unit that just came out, he's not the hardest hitting unit, but he does have some very good defensive abilities, so I think that's more or less where his benefit comes from. Obviously it's got like the almost like the I guess you could call it the defense creep method, where his defense will go up by 100%. The more, the greater the less in HP there is for the team, and then for every turn, the damage reduction kicks in for 10% each turn, up to 50%. So yeah, I mean, he definitely does provide the defensive mechanism within the team. His super attack also, over the course of one turn, attack and defense will increase as well. So he's more or less built in as a defensive, I wouldn't say defensive unit, but he's got the defensive capabilities within this team. So Trunks, on the other hand, the agility free-to-play unit, obviously very nice for free-to-play. I've got high respect for that unit. Yeah, he's got the built-in passive for flat 25,000 boost to attack at the start of the turn, and then when there's 2 or more enemies, it's going to add +8 key and then attack and defense increase of 20,000. So with most Dokkan events or whatnot, it's going to be limited in terms of his second part of the passive kicking in, because most Dokkan bosses are just going to be one enemy at a time. But yeah, for like Super Battle Road, he could definitely help out quite a bit, and we'll see how he does on Super Battle Road and test him out over the course of the next few days, and see how he does there. So we'll see how his 18 key super attack is with this category team setup. Obviously you saw it with the Hybrid Saiyan setup a few days ago, but you're getting much more higher leader skill stat boost for the attack. So, and he does have type advantage here against the Goku. So we'll see how he does. Looks to be right around 2 million right now with the potential, and we'll see how much he actually hits for. So no criticals, but 4.7 million, definitely a pretty high number there. So as a free-to-play unit, Dokkan mode 4.7 million, that is, I mean, that's monstrous in a way. So I mean, honestly, I rate this guy pretty highly. I actually really like this unit, and I'm glad Bandai came out with this unit for the Extreme Z battle. You don't necessarily need to have the featured banner unit on the summons. You have the alternative to being able to go into this with the LR Future Trunks and try and get through at least stage 30 with that. I don't know what the difficulty levels are for the Perfect Cell Extreme Z battle since it hasn't been released yet, but he does have type disadvantage against Perfect Cell, but I assume they release the free-to-play unit so that free-to-play type people are able to clear the Extreme Z battle up to stage 30. I mean, that's the only reason why they would release this unit anyway, and it's a good idea to do that for the Extreme Z battles. I mean, it's a really huge disadvantage when players don't have the category leads that provide that attack and defense bonus. It's honestly really unfair if you think about it. I mean, you've got to be one of those types of players that has pretty much every type of lead available in order to be prepped for the Extreme Z battle. So I think moving forward they should definitely include free-to-play versions of units, category leads that have that benefit against the Extreme Z battle bosses. So hopefully that's the case in the future. We'll just go ahead and put Future Gohan up front and see how his damage output is here. Should be able to KO Super Vegito. He doesn't have that much HP left. So with the critical, just short of a mil. So not too bad there. Yeah, obviously he doesn't hit as hard as some of the other units within this category, but like I keep saying, he does have the defensive abilities to offset his lack of power hitting in a way. But overall, he's not a bad unit. So it won't attack with LR Trunks, just, I mean, this guy can hit for a substantial amount, so, I don't want this event going through too rapidly, so we'll just let the other two units attack and see how they do. Yeah, it'll be I'm actually really curious to see how this guy does on Super Battle Road, and see how beneficial those passive skills are. It'll probably, I mean, if there's two more enemies, like, it's gonna add plus a key on top of that, 20,000 increase to attack and defense. So I would expect him being able to get that ultra attack or 18 key super very, very easily in those types of settings. So yeah, it'll be fun to see that and see how that plays out. But yeah, this is pretty much the brief showcase of how these units are within the Future Saga category. So hopefully this gives you a better picture of how this team overall performs. Again, this is a pretty diverse team, so you can definitely bring in different units and set it up in your own way. So thanks for watching, and check you guys later.